we've done over the last 6 months. I hope you stick around and find it at least a little bit interesting, because we certainly did. Now, you're all possibly wondering the same thing. What on earth is a cultural integration project, and why have 3 students been paid some very meagre wages to work on it? Well, do you remember first day at school or at work? Remember the butterflies in your stomach? Now imagine all that in a different language. Every year, foreign students come to this university from abroad and are faced with that prospect. This project is to find out if this university, and in fact us fellow students, do enough to accommodate these students and make them feel just that little bit closer to home. Because after all, if we were abroad, we'd want exactly the same.
Engineering student voice is an intercultural integration. Harmony or discord?
Okay, so what is our project? Essentially, our 3 of us have been working since October last year in our engineering department. So we're looking at how different cultures work within our department, home and international students. We all, for the reasons on the board, had a really different stance on why we should be integrated within our department. So from that, it was really interesting because we obviously had different things to bring to the group. Also, we've been having a blog which is following all of our updates, so you can check that out if you're interested.
So, why are we doing this project? Well, like any other disciplines, engineering is a multidisciplinary field, and everyone must participate. Everyone's participation is crucial to achieving this common goal. Also, we feel that this will be good for interpersonal development, as people will have the chance to combine their ideas together and produce an idea that will perhaps best solve a problem. Because with engineering, I find it's not just enough to find a solution. You have to find the best possible solution, and oftentimes it's not enough to just have one. And I believe that the contribution of students coming from different cultures is a very good way to do this. Also, from my personal point of view, students from other countries, particularly the Eastern world, have a wider perspective of the world to a certain degree, considering they have experience of both worlds, and therefore they'll help broaden our own perspective about the whole, about the world as a whole.
Yeah, so we kind of started, we looked at how international students viewed coming to the UK and the difficulties with that, how they kind of cope with coming to the university here, and then we flipped it over and looked at how the home students' perspective was of those international students visiting. So the cycle, we had 4 stages really of the cycle. I guess the next slide. So we started, phase 1 was a literature review, so we were trained on how to analyse all of our different data sources. So we looked at existing literature, people's journals, and loads of people's opinions, like well thought of opinions of kind of what people are existingly thinking about how it all works, how integration happens at in a university environment, and also in like a workplace situation as well. So after we did that, we looked at loads of stuff, and we kind of came up with a few key points that we took forward. And then we had our interviews, which was the next phase. So we all randomly selected a bunch of students to interview, one-on-one interviews. We recorded them. So myself, Kat and Guy interviewed a whole range of home and international students. And from there we tried and looked at how we could find proposals, what stuff we could do to make it easier for integration for next year's intake.
For the focus groups, we had one from each year, so first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. But this focus groups was a collective of students from different countries, so British, Chinese, Indian, Africans, and all that. The purpose of the focus groups was to see how people, was to observe how people would interact with each other if placed into this one room. We find that the international students are more subdued in expressing their opinions, but they do have a voice and they do have opinions to say, provided that they're prompted more than the international students.
Yeah. And it was a really good way of like bouncing people's ideas back and forth, because if you're maybe shy, you don't have maybe enough time to develop your idea, but if people are saying loads of different ideas, you can kind of, it works really well, I thought.
As for the results, upon completion of the interviews in the focus groups, we did a transcription of these interviews because we find that if you just take out particular points from a particular interview, it would ruin the whole purpose of the. Because some words just don't translate very well if you were to paraphrase it. And proposals, we'll talk about that in the next slide. And then we're going to have a conference, and then another conference in September, and a paper is going to be published later this year.
Cool, so our proposals, we kind of split up into academic and social. The academic ones, obviously, being engineering, it's a hard subject. Everyone is going to find it hard at some point. So we thought, to start with academic, obviously quite important, we found loads of different problems, ranging from ability to kind of people actually just being genuinely scared to ask questions, and we really wanted to kind of look at that, see how we can make a difference. So we're looking at tutorials and kind of the way it's interactively addressed. So are people too scared to ask questions, and why? Perhaps some of the lecturers are a bit too scary to approach, so easy things like putting a PhD in there so you can ask questions. Working in groups is a really good way to kind of reiterate the process behind the mathematical systems you're doing or the fluid dynamic thing you're modelling. So working in a group also kind of really help people to, if you're the same age as someone, it's really easy to ask a question. So we thought working in a group obviously really helps that process. So the group work format at the moment is it's not very good really. It's normally alphabetical, and people from certain countries tend to have surnames linked to certain letters of the alphabet, so those people tend to be clumped together, which is a bit of a shame really. So we thought kind of mixing up a little bit, changing the group system, and also rotating, so you're not with the same 8 people for 4 years, you do actually meet some other people. One of the guys in our focus group actually came up with this problem solving day, so all of the students are dumped in a room or whatever, and there's a problem, like there's a natural disaster, say, and you have to come up with some solutions, you have to come up with some getting medicine out, logic problems, or trying to create solutions in a day. So you're all working together, teamwork, cohesion, trying to bounce off each other's kind of strong points, really. The mentoring system, so having an older student work with the first year who can give them ideas, help them out with coursework, tell them how to even buy their food, or whatever they want to do, really. And also, sometimes the English isn't incredible for international students, but the written can be fantastic, but often the dialect, and particularly coping with slang, is quite hard, and to get it up to speed, it would be really cool to offer those people English lessons, or even informal English lessons, where you kind of meet up over coffee, so that you can practice the vocal English, because that's really important to work in groups, to make people feel like not scared, so you can contribute your ideas, which are often extremely valid and really important in group work situations.
The next one are social activities that the students have asked for during the interviews. The most prominent ones are the barbecue. This one was primarily suggested by first years, so it would help them ease up into the university life before any studies start. And the other popular one was sports teams, because they feel that this will help them build their confidence and help them in team building in preparation for academic group projects. This non-drinking social was suggested by mostly the international students, because I find that from my own perspective, Asian people are not very fond of drinking as much as the British are. So, in light of that opinion, they suggested that yes, sports teams, having a sports day would be a good idea to have. Also, the Facebook page for each year group would be to help them informally ask questions about coursework and topics that may come up during the course of their study that is not very well explained by professors and lecturers, considering that they may find that they are talking in an alien language, whereas if a person from their own year group explains explain it to them personally, it would translate more in human language.
And also to keep up with events is quite useful,
Yeah.
so everyone can get involved.
The social space in Harrison. Unfortunately, we used to have a common room, I remember that, and that's where we usually have our group projects and eat lunch together. But it seems to have been abolished 1 year after 1 year into university. So we were hoping that maybe we could have a common room back instead of just having the Harrison Learning Resource Center, which is only used really for studying. We just want to have a more social space and where we can interact more instead of just talking about studies.
Okay, so we've got some funding basically for next year so we can implement those changes. And we've tried to set up a little focus group so we can get some students involved and try and maybe get some more ideas for change for next year.
Actually, there's the first year that we interviewed, haven't we, who has set up his own sports team.
Yeah.
And during weekends they do play football together.
Yeah, so it'd be quite cool to get people like that on our side.
And lastly, we'd like to thank the following people.